Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Rumboyz Fantasy Network. As always, it's Thursday. It's time for us to get those picks in. We have our special guest, Raj.
He ain't even special at this point. My man's about to be a part of the crew. Straight up. What's good?
Raj, you are part of the family. You are
I'm the
part
third.
of the family.
I don't mind being the third wheel. It ain't the first time.
Yeah, let's go.
He's like, I'm a producer. I'm used to it. Like, I want to say something sometimes, so it's like, make sure that you guys follow Raj on Instagram. I wanted to make sure I threw this out there. You get a very nice behind the scenes look of their life, behind the scenes of what it takes to make ESPN Los Angeles. The once again, Keyshawn, LZ, and Travis show. You guys did a show recently outside of a bar. You did an on location show outside of a bar. Really quick one to ask.
Yeah.
Starting off, what was that like?
Well, something we do, I'll call us to show the people. If you hear that, we're the show the people. So we like to do remotes. And remotes are you go and we set it up in advance, go out to a location and you do a live show in front of people. Now, people, if you know, I put something on Instagram, I was rolling up at about 5:30. There's people outside the door lined up, man, ready to go, ready to party. So you get to come in. We're very hands-on, get to meet us. We sign any shirts you got, whatever. We used to give away shirts, but so we sign them, give dabs, take pictures with people. Of course, we'll have a shot too if you need to. Maybe most likely now after the show. But we have a good time with fans and friends. So it's just fun. I make them a part of the show. Yelling, they're screaming inside, in and out of breaks. We just have a good time and make sure we're accessible to people. Never act too good for nobody.
I like that. We're gonna have to, take that into account.
We have to go out and
jot that one down.
The Rumboyz on the road. The Rumboyz on the road. They ain't ready for y'all.
Whoa. With that being said, Ty, where's mine? There. Yo, cheers to me.
Well, we ain't getting on the road after this, but
No.
After the show, yeah.
Cheers to me.
Cheers to you.
All the Rumboyz and girls, what it do? Dilly.
Dilly.
Oh, BKB asked why I'm dressed up. I just woke up and I just wanted to put this on, man.
Feeling dangerous.
Yeah,
man.
I'm feeling dangerous.
I didn't know if you came from Thursday service or something, man. I ain't judging.
I
didn't know if you was praying for your Redskins, man. Like, hey, man, whatever you got to do, man.
We need that for sure. You know what? Before football starts on Sunday, we know where I'm gonna be in church. Let's see here. So before we get into the pick'ems, you guys recently released your power rankings on your show, and of course I tweeted back, and I sent ours, and I did ours.
Right, I saw. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with most of it.
What's up with the split, man, between the Cowboys and the Saints?
You mean the tie he has?
Yeah.
Dude, this isn't the first time. Now, in his defense, we don't call it top 10, call it power rankings. So in his defense, it's not a top 10. So he has ties. He just can't choose he has a love affair for 3 teams. Okay, 3 teams can do no wrong. The Seattle Seahawks can do no wrong with him. The Pittsburgh Steelers, who he finally was forced to take out of the power rankings, can do no wrong. And the Saints, because his nephew, nepotism, Michael Thomas, plays for them. So that's his brother's son. So even now, he still has the Saints up too high, if you ask me. I mean, let's face it, they're 1-1, and they almost lost their first game. Come on now. That's the upset I missed, but I tried to call it. I don't think I just think their window is closed. Sometime it closes. You find out after the fact that the window is closed. And so he still has them up there. So he has ties, a lot of ties. So, whatever.
I wanna see if maybe, I don't know if you saw the tweet, but I put them at 9. How do you feel about me putting the Saints at 9 due to the fact that Drew Brees is no longer there? So that, to me, it drops them and it affects them.
For one, they're 1-1. Okay, and they could easily be 2-2 or 0-2. Excuse me. So 9, I'm not gonna say it's generous, but that's accurate. And because part of the power ranking is, let's face it, it's kind of going forward. That's why I look at it. Like who you have is right now the best team to win a Super Bowl, and now without their quarterback for an extended amount of time, and they haven't even named a starter for week 3. But I think 9 that's about as accurate as you can be, man. That's a fair ranking there.
Nice. Well, I definitely, make sure you guys go and check it out on rumboyz.com. We'll have you guys' list there. as well, so you can see what ESPN.
Don't put that on me. It's not you. That's Keyshawn. Don't put that clownery on me.
It says Keyshawn's list.
He
at
said,
the
"I got my
top.
own list, bro. I got
Yeah.
my own list."
Maybe
It
we'll
says
on the
his
side
list.
we'll do our own or something. We have our 3, but you know what I'm saying.
There we go. Exactly.
But I'm not
let's
taking
go ahead.
credit for some of those teams.
No, he's like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing
I'm
that.
not taking no fault for this.
Don't
No.
put Keyshawn's takes on me.
Yes, exactly.
Let's go ahead and dive into the games. So we're gonna go this time with the snake flow. Ty?
We'll try our best to go with the snake flow. You know how it gets up.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you take it away. It'll go Raj and then back to myself.
So tonight's game, obviously your Thursday night football, is the Titans going down to our friends in Duval. Gotta say that. Shout out Adam Rink every time now. Playing the Jags. And this is kind of an interesting game because obviously the Jags are another one of those teams who lost their quarterback early here. Everyone had, honestly, different mixed opinions on Nick Foles. We see Garner come in. He hasn't been bad, to be honest with you. But the Titans showed me a lot in the first week against the Browns. I mean, like, they look like they could come out and slap some very good teams in the mouth. Last week, I mean, not as much of as a major threat for them, but I still think the Titans are going to go down there, and they're going to take the W. Jalen Ramsey will play for the Jags, as so far reported. I mean, you know how that could go in a matter of seconds. But I'm not sure where his head's going to be at with that. If he's going to be, trying to ball out, jump at balls, try and jump routes to get interceptions to look better, or if, he's just not going to care and is waiting to get off the team. So I still think this is the time for the Titans to maybe shape it back up after a tough, close game last week. I think they can go down there and get it done.
Yeah, the Titans, they've won the last 4 against Jacksonville, which was like, I had looked it up. It's like, wow, okay, so I don't know if they own them, but winning 4 in a row. This means it was back when Jacksonville was good, a couple years ago. So obviously the story is Jalen Ramsey. You're right. Does he play? How should he? How is he going to play? Are you risking injury? This is one of those games where it's going to be close. It's going to be somewhat ugly. I'm going to watch it, no matter how ugly it gets. Fournette, it's interesting. He hasn't really gotten off for fantasy. We always mix a little fantasy and point spreads into these conversations. But fantasy-wise, he hasn't gotten off. But you know what? He's been on the field like a lot. So I think it's coming. He's going to get off soon. But in this game, I think the Titans' defense, I think it's tough. I think it's too tough for what Jacksonville has to offer right now. Mariota, I'm not sold on. I'm not. Corey Davis kind of showed up the other day, but in a close one, I guess I would have to take the Jaguars. But if I'm doing a confidence poll, I have this very low, like a 1, 2, or a 3. But did I say Jaguars? I meant Titans. Excuse me. I'm going to take the Titans based on that.
You got him a little bit. He was like,
yeah, no. I will pick some upsets, man. But this will be a slight upset. I think it's like a 1.5 point spread or something like that. But I'm going to go to Tennessee on the road to get it done.
I'm going to begin my take with fantasy advice.
Ooh. Derrick
Henry fans, be so happy for tonight.
Okay.
Now I know now with Jacksonville's defense, I know they have a good defense, but I also feel that with Jacksonville's defense, they have so much turmoil that they end up, screwing themselves over. Excuse how I put that. That Derrick Henry is going to do. I just tweet out my throwback Thursday, and it was Derrick Henry breaking out the big run. The big one was a 99.
I was just saying
run. Yeah.
Okay.
Derrick Henry fans, Derrick Henry owners, turn up. You guys are going to love this game tonight. Corey Davis is absolutely positively garbage. So he's irrelevant to kind of bring up in this offensive scheme. But like it hurts to say that because I'm a huge Corey Davis fan.
I know that hurt you. I know that hurt.
But all in all, that's pretty much the only fantasy value that you got riding on that. Look for this to be a run-heavy game. I mean, as well, Leonard Fournette. This is going to be a battle of the running backs.
Sure.
I look for time of possession in this game to be a big factor. because it's going to be such a run-heavy game. It's going to come down to who's going to have the ball last. Like you said, 1.5-point spread, but I am rolling with Tennessee by 3. Me personally, I think they got what it takes to pull it off.
All right. So we all agree on that one, huh?
Yeah, Jags just aren't going to get it done, it
No.
sounds like.
No.
We'll see.
Jalen said, trade me. Yeah, that's me. Next game that we have up is the Dolphins and Cowboys.
Game of the week.
You played the Dolphins. How did you? Oh, my. Man, it just continues.
Man, I wouldn't say game of the week, but most certainly a kid of whoop ass of the week.
Sure.
My mama said Dallas Cowboys going to win. It is what it is.
Yeah.
The Dolphins, how can you win when no one wants to be there? How can you win when people aren't motivated? And what makes it even more sad is that it's Miami. Like, you would think people want to go and play in Miami, and they want to ball out and have fun. Exactly. See, like the location of this team, the fact that they can't make people want to stay and string together wins, it baffles me. It baffles me. They are the dumpster fire for the next 10 years, NFL. Good job.
10 years.
I don't think it'd be quite that long. I mean, I know they're rebuilding. They got 3 first-round picks this season, or coming up, this next one. But let's face it, of course, this is dumpster fire. So whenever we talk Miami on this show, I guess we're going to have to bring up the point spread. So it's a historic day. There's never been a week where there's 2 teams favored by 20 points or more. Of course, New England Jets, which we'll get to later. But this game, Miami, last week I brought this up, and I took the points against New England because in the NFL, it's a ton of points. My only concern was a revolt real. I don't believe players tank. I think organizations do. But I do believe players quit. And what I saw last week, especially once you get down, they quit at home. This game, I'm only on to point spreads. It's like I don't like taking this many points, but and Keyshawn and I were talking about today, but Dallas is the type of team that can put it on cruise control a little bit, things like that once they get up. But crying on the other side, it's a romp for fantasy purpose and hope no Cowboys get injured. We lost Xavier Woods, which means freaking Heath comes in, and Heath only gives up big plays, so that concerns me. We got rid of Soft Taco. We cut him. You just admit a first-round pick was a bust. He's a bust. And it's funny, Taco Charlton was released, first-round pick just 2 weeks ago. I brought up a text. I look back with some, Cowboy friends I have on a thread. And August 11th, watching a preseason game, I wrote, it's been about 2.5 years since I've seen Taco touch a quarterback. Not Zach, just put his hand on one. I was like, I think we missed on this one, fellas. And Cowboys obviously realized that. I give them credit because we have a first-round pick. You don't want to let him go. You just want to hold on to him. They had this dude inactive for 2 weeks trying to trade him. No one wanted him. He's gone. Get up out of there. Of course, we lose Michael Gallup, for a few weeks. That's another injury concern. So I'm watching this game for fantasy, point spread, and hope no one gets hurt. But come on, it's the Cowboys.
True. I don't think there's a whole lot to say about this. I mean, the Cowboys is the obvious answer for any and everybody. And Dolphins fans are probably picking the Cowboys this week, to be honest with you. It's a thing. I totally agree. I don't think players tank and want to lose, but I think it's hard when you probably only got 5 dudes on offense or defense that want to continue playing the game after the first half. And like you said, once they get down, I mean, it's easier to stay in a competitive game, but especially against a team like the Cowboys, who I expect to probably easily score a touchdown, maybe 14 points even in the first quarter alone. I can't see the Dolphins doing a whole lot to come back. I mean, maybe they put up some points because I do agree that the Cowboys are pretty good at putting it in cruise mode, just letting Zeke kind of carry it out, throw a couple little dumps, whatever they got to do. But I think this is going to be a blowout as well. I mean, maybe like a 28. I'll give the Dolphins a touchdown here, 28-7. So at a minimum, too.
So real quick, do you guys have the Dolphins covering the 21.5? You do not. You're gonna no, but Ty, you have them covering by a hook. If it's 28-7, that's a hook.
I mean, it's again. That's like my absolute minimum. I think that's like me trying to be generous and saying the Cowboys don't turn it on and the Dolphins do something. Like a touchdown is something for the Dolphins already this year. So
my quarterback Dolphins fan, and I'm expecting him to like just go into hiding and like this is so
Right,
bad.
right.
Yeah.
No, it's hard down in Miami. I saw a picture the other day of like the little keyboard where it says upgrade. It's like the Miami Dolphins. It's upgrade and it goes to the Marlins, and they're like, shit, go back.
Go back.
I mean, it's hard down in Miami right now.
No, most certainly. Really quick, I think the Knicks were okay with tanking. Next up, Bengals Bills. So I think it's your turn next.
Working on the snake. There you go. I like it. Good job. The Bengals look really good in week 1. I mean, maybe not really good, but better than what I thought. I honestly put them in like the bottom like 3 teams in the whole power ranking to start the season. Andy Dalton looked good in the first week. They kind of got back to what I thought they would look like last week. And I like some of the improvement that the Bills have been making defensively. I mean, again, we haven't seen Cole Beasley drop a pass since we freaked out the one time. So I don't think this is a hard one for the Bills. Maybe not a blowout, but I think the Bills can take this one, especially at home.
Yeah, I picked the Bills all season. I like Josh Allen for whatever. He's the second fastest quarterback to 10 rushing touchdowns behind Cam. His passing is always going to be a little erratic. He's never going to be the most accurate guy, but the dual threat that he brings, and of course their tough defense. I think, and this game is in Buffalo, correct? Oh, and there's the Bills warned the fans for the you ever seen the Bills Mafia pregame and tailgate? They warned them not to act too much of a fool. So we'll see how that goes for them. But it's some of the best videos. If you look up Bills Mafia, make sure the kids aren't around, but just and make sure you're not at work. But it's
we thought Eagles fans were bad eating shit on the streets. He's right about the Bills Mafia.
Once you start power bombing into flaming tables, we'll let you look into it.
That's not the worst. But I think with Josh Allen, Singletary, is he questionable for this game? I thought I read something where there's something up with him. I'm not sure if he's under play. And but where our guy Gore will get the another start. He's been playing since 1978, but he's still going. But anyway, with the mix of the running game, Josh Allen being a dual threat in their defense, see him winning this game fairly comfortably. I like the Bills to win this one for sure.
I like it. We all know my habits probably at this point.
Yeah.
I
know exactly what
I am gonna take the Bills, but and it's they have it projected. ESPN has it projected as a 6-point spread. I'm gonna roll with that. I'm gonna roll with that. Bills by 7 is what I'm saying. I want to make sure that everyone in the audience does understand this is probably one of the more high power, high octane fantasy matchups that you're probably overlooking. If Devin Singletary plays, then yes, you're probably going to play Devin Singletary or flex Devin Singletary. If not, then absolutely Frank Gore. He managed to find the end zone. John Ross, this is finally John Ross's, coming out year. He's
better
finally
late than never. Better late than never.
Oh yeah, Andy Dalton, a guy that myself included and every other fantasy analyst that I've ever spoken to has stated that he's on the decline. Don't draft him. Don't pick it up. Is looking like a guy that's going to be streamable in your bye week situations. There's a lot of factors that I want fans to pay attention here into. And also, one final thing with this game, AJ Green was seen at practice yesterday, practicing without a limp. John Ross fans, I don't want you to panic. John Ross owners, I don't want you to panic. But AJ Green owners, I want you to be excited.
Speaking of AJ Green, I stashed him on a couple of leagues. AJ Green, I stashed him for when he does come back, be a number 2 at least. Do you trust Joe Mixon in this game? Zach, remember last year I didn't like the high ankle sprain. I was concerned that you don't get over a high ankle sprain in 1 week. Now he played, but if you started him, I didn't start him. I have him in a league, and I don't trust the high ankle, so I didn't start him. Do you trust him now in this one?
No. I'm still not trusting Mixon this week. And referring exactly to your high ankle sprain tape, you can't trust that. Even after 1 week of you healing. I think he can go out there and very possibly reactivate it again. And we never wish injury on any player.
Well, sure.
But the reality of the situation, the reality of it is that it's something that could be reactivated again. I would like to see him. More likely, you should be trading Joe Mixon for something else because of that. But I would like to see him, try and bounce back. At least, give it this week, bench him, and then next week maybe.
All right.
I like the Bills' defense too. I don't think they're going to give up a whole lot to a whole lot of people this year. So,
Good call.
Do you have anything else with that game?
No.
Nice. Oh, and Josh Allen's a streamable QB as well. I went ahead and picked him up because of the Breeze injury. Lions, Eagles. Do we have to? Are the Lions even? What are they doing?
Yeah, the Lions.
What are they doing?
The Lions looked good last week.
Yeah,
I
return.
they look good. I mean, I'm not saying they beat Philly because honestly, I'm still pretty high on Philly. But it sounds like there's a lot of injuries going on there on Philly's offense. But Philly lost a very close game to a Falcons team that I've been high on. I know Raj was high on too as well, and we both were debating whether we wanted to pick them. They came back, but Philly didn't look bad. That game always comes down to being a great game. And again, I'm taking the Eagles on this one, especially in Philly. That just only helps. But the Lions looked good last week. I never like to look at a team in my division and be like, well, honestly, they didn't look terrible, but this is an easy win for the Eagles. I don't think this is any type of blowout, maybe like 7 points, if that. Maybe a field goal. But I'm not hating on the Lions. And usually I enjoy doing that. So
I tell you what, I think I do think the Lions will cover this game. I think it's a 7.5 point spread. I think they'll cover it. Still waiting for Kerryon Johnson, fantasy-wise, to get going. I know he had 88 scrimmage yards last week, but I'm expecting more. It's weird. I'm watching the game, and they're kind of giving it to him, but we're not seeing explosiveness like we did last season. The Eagles, Alshon might be out. We know our speedster Deshaun is out. So Aguilar, I guess you'll lean on. And maybe Ertz will finally make an appearance this season for people that drafted him early. But still, Philly coming off the loss and going back home, I think it's just going to be a bit too much. So I will take Philadelphia to win this game. And Miles Sanders is still a compelling backfield. It's like my favorite running back. I'm waiting to burst out. Be patient if you have him in fantasy. He's getting half the split. It's like 50-50. Production isn't there yet. Not saying him start him yet, but definitely keep Miles Sanders or try and trade for him from an impatient owner, because I don't think our guy Jordan Howard is going to hold him back for too long, and the coaches will see Sanders is where the talent is. Remember 2 years ago, Kamara, it took a while. It took a few weeks. Sometimes it's just for these rookies. And it's a simple thing you don't see a lot of times, like pass protection. They don't trust them with, or, picking up the blitz, things like that. So it just takes them a while, but be patient, man. I think Miles Sanders is clearly the most talented running back in that backfield.
I think we've been preaching that since we met the guy. We were like, honestly, he's taking over the starting role. So
it'll
what happened to our guy TJ Hawkinson last week? Speaking of the Lions, our tight end. You guys called it the first week because I know you guys met him. I didn't trust it, and then in daily fantasy, I went all in on him last week. And the dude was like, was it a game plan, or did he just forget the game? What time the game started? What happened to my man?
I think it was just a game scripting thing.
I was gonna say Stafford just wasn't looking for him as much. It seemed like they didn't set up as many plays, or maybe just. The fact that the Chargers got a week to see, like, this tight end is blowing teams up. Yep. We need to make sure we are covering him and watching him throughout the game. And it obviously opened up other areas. The Lions pulling a W against the Chargers, who I thought were going to be fantastic even without Gordon this year. So, hopefully just a game plan.
Yeah. Watch those slow starts for the Chargers. I picked against them twice. I know they won one game, but they get off to slow starts, and then Phillip just gets it going as they try and save the season every year.
Sure.
With this game, I want to go ahead, and I'm just going to flat out state this. I am taking the Lions.
All right.
I am taking the Lions.
I like it.
The Eagles should be 0-2 for obvious reasons. I don't think that this team has figured it out. We just talked about the backfield and how convoluted it is, and we want Miles Sanders to break out. I think that needs to happen for this team to really go out there and smack teams around. They don't look like the same Eagles. This is a team I feel like they're going to flip-flop on you every other week. They just don't look the same, and I feel like maybe I'm seeing it too early. And, and maybe there's some people that are still like, no, like they're perfectly fine. They're still the same Eagles they were when they went to the Super Bowl. I'm sitting back. I'm like,
you're not seeing something.
No, I'm not. I'm not seeing it. Deshaun and Alshon, both out. Alshon has an injury resume. Deshaun has an injury resume. If those guys aren't out there ready to go, then you're now forcing everything onto Nelson Aguilar, Zach Ertz, and a rookie, JJ Arcega-Whiteside, who is amazing, compelling story. Don't get me wrong, but I see some drops here and there of passes that I could go out there and catch. With that being stated, I think the Lions just have more pieces stable in their starting lineup to be able to go out there and push this team around. 13-point game.
All right. I like the upset. Betsy. I like it.
Yeah. Jets, Patriots. A game that we wish an upset could happen, but we all probably know better. Like a pizza be died inside having to say that, man. Raj,
No way.
Ty, are we all just going to go all in on the Patriots on this one?
Patriots plus 73 point differential. It's the other game where it's a plus 20 point spread. This time I am going to take the underdog. Division game, 20 points. I'm gonna ride with old Luke Falk in his first career start. They're gonna kill Le'Veon Bell. He almost, I felt bad for him last week. He was this dude out here killing himself, just for nothing. But gosh, you got to stay within 20. That's all I got to say on it. I have nothing else on it.
What irritated me so much about the New York Jets? I'm sorry. I just what irritated me the most. Why did you not pass to a single receiver other than Robbie Anderson until the fourth quarter? You were already not passing the ball. Like this was last week was clearly a game plan where you did not need Le'Veon to touch the ball 20 some odd times. You needed to get that ball downfield. You needed to stretch the field because you were in your own territory most of the game. Use Quincy Enunwa. Like there's no reason why Quincy Enunwa was not targeted until the final 6.5 minutes of the fourth quarter. That is absolutely terrible.
It's ugly.
Chris Herndon is going to be coming back. Learn how to use the tight end. Learn how to go through your reads. I'll say that Falk looked a lot better than Simeon, and it looked like that they tried to open up the playbook a little bit more with Falk than they did with Simeon, and maybe that's a skill level type of thing.
Right.
I hope that you're right about Falk. I felt that once he came in, he looked a little bit better. But that Patriots defense is scary.
I know, young, athletic, and they're good, man.
I don't think there's a whole lot to say. I'm totally agreeing with you at this point. Like I just hope the Jets don't absolutely get blown out and it's not just a game to kind of wave off of the TV during the day. Yep. The Patriots, the defense, the offense, special teams. I mean, the Patriots are just complete in general. And I think the fact that they're doing what they're doing already to some of the teams that they are, I mean, walking in first week and beating Pittsburgh like they did. I know Pittsburgh is what we look at them now, but like that's a huge confidence booster. That is usually a hard-fought game, a helmet-smashing game, and the Patriots are just going to ride this as long as I think they can. And I don't think this is a hard game for them at all. I don't even know if Brady plays the whole game.
Oh, yeah. I hope not.
Right.
Falcons, Colts. You up?
Yeah. I like this game. Like I said, I really, really like the Colts with Andrew Luck. I understand we continue to talk about this because it honestly is a different team without Andrew Luck. Brissett's looked pretty good, especially for, again, I think it's amazing just the fact that he didn't have much of an offseason, a preseason really knowing he was the starter to like actually mentally prepare himself in these ways. I know I've been picking the Falcons though. I like the Falcons last week. They looked better. Still not the Falcons team I see possibly even getting into the playoffs. Maybe now without the Saints being the Saints.
Nope.
But I'm gonna go with the Colts. I've been on Atlanta. I get they helped me out last week and at least made me feel better about picking them. but I think Brissett will get it together this game, and I think he'll take advantage of some small holes maybe going on that Falcons defense hasn't come all the way together after injuries like I've been hoping they really would. And aside from Julio just kind of tearing people up in the last couple of days, I think the Colts will get this one done in a very close game, but I think they can get it done.
Well, Vegas agrees with you that it'll be a close game. I think it's just a 1.5 point spread. So they completely agree. It shows you how the Colts are doing. I mean, as a whole team. Remember, Andrew Luck went down. They actually kind of put a team around him.
Sure.
The Falcons are hard to figure. I picked them last week to upset Philly, being at home. I just didn't think they could go down 0-2. This game, tough game. You go into Indy. It's one of those things they don't have circled on the calendar. Can kind of sneak up on you, especially since Luck's been out. Jacoby, I believe, only had 146 yards passing last week, but he seems kind of in control of the game, at least command, trying to game manage. Still waiting for Devontae Freeman to go off. He has a lot of scrimmage yards, total yards, but it's like Smith is running better in between the tackles. But I think with a low confidence, I'm going to take Atlanta to win this game, and they can be, hey, we're above 500. When push comes to shove, sometimes I just go with the starting quarterback. Then I go with the next best player. That's Julio. I know it's both on the offensive side, but I think it's a good enough game to where they can pull this out in Indy, but closer than people think. Vegas has it right. You've got it right, Ty. It's going to be close, but I'll take Atlanta on this.
I love that you did not look at like the spread, like nothing.
You nailed it.
Yeah, I nailed it.
Yeah, I felt that one.
I'm gonna take this game as Atlanta's receiver core. I feel is a lot faster and a lot more talented. But this is going to be another one of those, a battle between the tackles. And Marlon Mack has been on an absolute tear thus far this year. And it's made a lot of Marlon Mack truthers look like they're right. I wouldn't say that I was a truther, but I was definitely someone that was like, if he's there, go and get him. And you can let him fall to you late. And that was literally what I would say about it.
I mean, yeah.
I was wrong on him. I thought he was, because I had him the year he didn't do nothing. So I hold grudges, not wise in fantasy. So I was like, he fell and I just passed him and took chances on other people, but I was wrong. You got that. You nailed that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm going with the Colts. I'm going with Jacoby Brissett.
All right.
Even when Andrew Luck retired and everything, I was trying to tell Colts fans and all the Colts Nation, I'm like, you guys need to chill. You need to relax. Go back and watch Brissett on film before going out here. And I get that that's not initially what fans do. That's usually something that what we do. Go back and watch the film before panicking. He's already shown you enough sample size this year that I don't think that organization needs to panic.
Okay. Well, they feel the same way, and they extended him for a couple of years, so they feel like they're in good hands. And like I say, even though it was only 146 yards, I liked his command of the game. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, yeah, a tough team.
Not making a lot of mistakes. That's kind of the big thing. Just
let
your defense kind of take control of it. Keep yourself in it. So
there you go.
Let's see. We got Raiders, Vikings next. The Raiders. I think I go first this time. Yeah. I am gonna go with Minnesota. As long, like I said with my power rankings yesterday, once again I got attacked on Twitter about my power rankings. Let me adjust this lighting really quick. Sorry. I got attacked on Twitter about my power rankings. A lot of people saying that I was too high on Minnesota. Listen, as long as Dalvin Cook looks like the second coming of birth child of Walter Payton and Barry Sanders, then just let it be. Yes, I did that. I just did that. Just let it be. This is probably the league's leading rusher this year, as long as he stays healthy. As long as Dalvin Cook stays healthy, I am calling it right here, right now. League leading rusher. Kirk Cousins doesn't. In week 1, Kirk Cousins threw a total of 10 passes. Last week he threw what? About 14?
He threw 32. He went 14 of 32 last week.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So he passed the ball a little bit more, but he wasn't even effective. Diggs had the unsportsmanlike call because take it off its helmet, and
he loves it. He loves it.
This team wins through Dalvin Cook this year. Minnesota, enjoy your new toy.
Wow. Well, I've said I've been big on Minnesota all year. And correction, looks like he was 25 at 30 attempts. That can't be right for blah, blah, blah. There it is. But anyway, I've said as long as Dalvin Cook is healthy, I like them winning last week in Minnesota. Or in Green Bay. I was wrong. He still had 191 scrimmage yards. What you call him, Barry Sanders and Earl Campbell or
yeah.
whoever you got him on there. I love Dalvin Cook. They got receivers if you need it. I'm a little worried about Cousins. The defense. I still like the defense. My guy coming off the knee injury. Josh Jacobs, what I heard just earlier coming in, word on the street is he lost about, not only is he dealing with a bit of an injury, I believe it's a hip, if I'm not mistaken, he's also sick. And they say he lost about 10 pounds. So if he's not 100%, I'm really worried about the Raiders being able to generate any type of offense. Terrell Williams, I love Darren Waller. That was my sleeper pick in every league. Carr's been efficient. He's been fine. It was funny. I was watching the game. One of the most fun things you guys can do, I don't know how many there are out there, but watch a Raider game with the Raider fans when they're winning. When they were up 10-0 against it is the best thing. You know what I mean? I love it. Like, I don't even hate the Raider fans. They make me laugh, but it was just great. And just watching that second quarter, they was like, oh, no, here we go again. Just to see it just all unravel on it, it's just, oh, poor guys. But it was just the ultimate roller coaster of emotions. But anyway, I think this is an 8.5-point spread here. From what I heard today, Josh Jacobs, if he ain't right, they got no shot in Minnesota. Rebound. They know they should have won that game. Kirk Cousins blew that game for them against Green Bay. I think Minnesota bounces back big. I think the Raiders are improved. Don't get me wrong, but this is just a bad spot going on the road against an upset, talented team. I think the Vikings roll.
I'm 100% with that. I'm 100% with that. Also, with what you say, watching Raiders fans, like, there's nothing better than when, like, you're just sitting back with the homies, you're all playing pool at a pool hall, like having a couple of drinks, and like the Raiders are versing the Broncos, and because we're not Broncos fans, we just get to enjoy like the sulking of the Broncos fans. But to see the Raiders fans just get happy for like no reason, like no reason, like it's great.
It's very upset, which is hilarious too.
No, when they get very upset, that's when it's like, all right, it's time to go. Get the keys to the car. Ravens, Chiefs, game of the week, in my opinion.
No doubt.
Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. This is the battle of quarterbacks. This is the quarterback battle of the weekend.
Sure.
It's the battle of offenses.
Yeah.
I mean,
Ty, you first, bro.
This is hard. Honestly, I think if there is one of these two teams that are more real, I guess, in a way than the other, I am going to go with the Chiefs because I think they're a full package team. I get that their defense maybe isn't top-notch, top 5-esque in the NFL, but, I mean, their offense is so good, it doesn't matter their defense. Again, I say the same thing, like, your offense is on the field for, like, 4 plays a drive. How do you think the defense is going to do after, having a whole series then having to do that? The Chiefs defense is going to be tired, I think, chasing Lamar Jackson around, though, which is going to be extremely entertaining and a lot of fun to watch. I think it is going to be a close game, but I do think the Chiefs, especially in Arrowhead, I mean, everybody knows how loud it is. Like, it's incredible. So I'm going with the Chiefs in this one. Very much agree that this is game of the week and going to be probably the one you need to be tuning in no matter what. So I like it. I think Lamar maybe looks a little more human in this game. But I think Mahomes just continues to be Mahomes and make everybody's jaw drop.
Yeah, it's something else watching him play. This is a dynamic, like, new school quarterback game. Youngsters. I think Vegas has this completely wrong. I think they've got Chiefs 6.5-point favorites. On the paper, Baltimore has the better offense. They have the better defense. Sure, you can look at opponents or whatever to quirks that a little bit, but the running game. I look at both a different type of passing game. Sure, in fantasy wise, it doesn't matter who the receivers are. Like they're already fantasy relevant for KC. We know that. But I just look at the diverse attack. They both have the receivers, tight ends that are dangerous now. This is Mark Andrews. Is that his name?
Yep.
So he's the number one fantasy tight end, if I'm not mistaken. But with Ingram there and just the play action, Baltimore uses the highest percentage. I believe 62% of their passes or play action. So they set you up. You have to respect it. It's such a diverse offense. God, I want to go with the upset straight up. If you do a money line or just straight up, I want to go with Baltimore winning this game. I know it's an Arrowhead. I know the Chiefs are so dangerous. Like I said, anytime they have the ball, they're in the red zone. I get that. I just think Earl Thompson just get a pick. It's going to come down to turnovers. I think Baltimore's defense can force a turnover a bit more than KC. It's definitely most likely going to be an over. Over, I'm sure, somewhere in the 50s. I like this game for Baltimore. Chiefs have historically done. I think they've won the last two, but still, this is a different offense. And then again, I said in the beginning with Lamar, like the second time through, and this is again they've only seen it once. I'm a little worried once teams see him twice, but you got to give credit where it's due, and I see him as a developed quarterback. Now it's a clean pocket a lot of time, but he's hitting his passes. He's throwing passes over 15 yards. They weren't letting him do this last year. Hollywood Brown there and different weapons. I just think their offense is so diverse. Where do you stop? What do you focus on? And I think the defense can force a turnover to enough. So I'm going to go with the upset. I like Baltimore to win this game early in the season. If there's people are still trying to figure them out, I think they can pull it off, guys.
I'm going with you, actually. I am going with Baltimore. I am taking the Ravens. I'm keeping this pick close to my DMV roots, DC, Maryland, Virginia. Lamar Jackson looks completely changed. This is a one score, one possession type of game. You're going to see one of two scenarios in the final seconds. Either a kicking unit is coming out for either one of these teams to win it by 3, or it's going to be a straight up touchdown win. There's no other way around this one. The Ravens defense is just better than the Chiefs defense. Plain and simple. I thought the Chiefs were going to try and go and get Minkah Fitzpatrick. That didn't happen. I thought the Chiefs, maybe try and see about Jalen Ramsey. It doesn't sound like that they're too heavily, involved in those talks. With that being stated, I mean, like you mentioned, Hollywood Brown is just too damn fast, just too fast. They have 3 capable running backs back there, whereas KC could be entering this one with Damian Williams injured. But then they also have Darwin Thompson, the rookie, back there. So this game could go either way, but I am taking the Ravens for the upset.
Yeah, good. There we go. That's that. This is going to be a fun game, entertaining game. I'm not changing their channel on this one. No, I'm just going to keep it on this one and just go for the ride, man.
This is the game that I was hoping the Saints-Rams were going to be before the Drew Brees situation. This is the game I was hoping to be
I like what Mike D just commented, too. It's now or never, one of your listeners, what he commented and taking Baltimore. Like, I like that.
Yeah. Yep. They pretty much have a now or never fork in their schedule. I like that comment. Broncos, Packers. So I'm gonna go with Green Bay in this one. They just find ways to win. As long as Aaron Rodgers is your quarterback, how are you going to doubt him? It looked like that they got Geronimo Allison work into the game last week. Of course, Marquez Valdez-Scantling has been remaining a target for him. I didn't like that they pretty much took Jimmy Graham out the picture last week, and I want them to kind of reinsert him back this week. I want to see Aaron get the ball around to everyone because, after all, you are Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Jones looked alive. I don't like that LaFleur has stated that he would like for even carries between Jones.
What is he thinking?
Was that?
What is he thinking?
Exactly. I was thinking that exact thing. In an offense that does not call any audibles, now you're splitting carries where that's also going to kind of screw with your momentum as well. I don't like that. You give majority of the carries to Jones until proven otherwise. I say that that's what he should be doing. But I also feel that could probably be smoke and mirrors, and Jones is just going to make the most of his touches. Chubb and Miller have still yet to come alive, so I wonder about them. There as defenders, it's just Green Bay in this game.
Yeah, I'd like to. You guys you got a bad call last week. Remember, I picked the Broncos to win in Mile High against Ty's team there. You know that was not a pass interference, Ty. You should feel ashamed of yourself for taking that penalty and moving yourself into a game-winning field goal position. But whatever. But Broncos lost, but still too much going to Green Bay. Now, Aaron hasn't been hot, but he's been winning. Aaron Rodgers, excuse me, by the way. Aaron Jones, to me, has been the star of the team so far. Devontae Adams had 100 yards last week, but still hasn't gone off yet. Don't know if it'll happen here, but you're just not going to keep him down for too long. I think the Green Bay has too much at Lambeau. Broncos got to start wondering, what's going on here. Is Von? They've been focused on Von? Is he not Von Miller? Has he not been going off yet, or is it just because I don't see him causing havoc like normal? But either way, I see this Green Bay winning. I'm fairly confident on that. Broncos lose to the Raiders. You lose at home to Chicago. It was a good team, but still, you had that one. I don't see them going to Lambeau and winning. I got to take Green Bay.
As much as it kills me, I keep having to take the Packers, and it's a pain in and around this area of my body. But I mean, I agree. It's Aaron Rodgers. He seems to figure out how to get it done, and the Broncos offense. I know we're talking about a lot of their defense not showing up yet and being the defense we think, but their offense is still a lot of question marks to me. Flacco maybe has looked better. I mean, I kind of thought he was going to come in and just his attitude was just going to absolutely ruin his season. He hasn't looked terrible, but I think Aaron Rodgers loves to play against good defenses. Yeah. I think he thrives off of playing better defenses, and I think this is going to be a time where he's going to get it done. And again, there isn't a lot to say about it. It's Aaron Rodgers. He knows how to do it. I know you said a lot of teams could probably be going into Lambeau to get W's, but I think it's one of these times where the Packers are going to get the W. And again, Jones is not a concern to me when they're ahead by even 7 to just run the ball and continue getting first downs. He's not a guy that's going to get stopped for a 2-yard gain, and eventually have to punt. He can get explosive 5-6 yard runs off the bat and keep the game locked in for the Packers.
Nice.
Really quick, is like the most stressful part of running this podcast, knowing that you have to cover the Packers at some point. Like you just come in, you're like, man,
so for me, yes, I don't like the It's the same as you guys. Like, you guys don't like each other's teams, blah blah blah. But like the Bears Packers have been going at it for forever. But I have so many Packers fans in Chicago that are some of my best friends. That I've had such.
That's what does it. Who are your friends? Like, I love to see my friends in misery. Like if you're hanging out with me and this is your team, I might be apathetic about your team until I learn that it's your team. Like, ooh, I want them to lose now. You know what I'm saying? I'm that
guy. Let's see here. Panthers, Cardinals. See, that's why Raj always likes for the Redskins to lose. He gets to rub it into me. Panthers, Cardinals. Yeah. Who do we got in this one? Kyler Murray gets his first W.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's time.
Point taking close. That's it.
Yeah.
Kyler
Murray gets his first NFL W. Him and Christian Kirk, they keep linking up. They can clearly put points on the board. I do worry about David Johnson's wrist, but he did come back into the game last week. And they said that he was fine. But the Panthers without Cam Newton, I mean, Kyle Allen, he's decent to come in the game. All I really care about for the Panthers side is just let Christian McCaffrey run all over the place, and then I'm good.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I want to see my man DJ Moore go off some. I don't know how this new quarterback, how he's going to connect with the new quarterback, but it can't hurt him, right? I mean, if Cam isn't healthy, you've seen the throws Cam is missing. So he and Samuel should do better. I got the Cardinals in this one. Listen, I like Kyler Murray. I like the new school. He's too short. I hate all these unwritten rules, and I get that. Got a couple balls batted down, but he passed for 349 last week. I believe he and Cam Newton are the only quarterbacks with 300 plus in their first 2 career games in the NFL. You mentioned David, 100 and some scrimmage yards. That looks well. David Johnson. I like the chemistry he has with Christian Kirk. He has a security blanket and Fitz. Fitzgerald, who I do like in PPR leagues, or if you're playing DraftKings this week, low price, going to get you a lot of passes. I like Arizona to straight up win this game, even if Cam was playing. Because of the way Cam was playing, I would think they could. I think they could win this game. Get your W. Let's get this first W. Interesting bit. Arizona, they run mostly shotgun, no huddle. They're the second fastest in terms of running to play. The number one fastest is Carolina, surprisingly. I didn't see that coming. So they snapped the ball. I don't know if that's going to change this week with the change of quarterback, but this should be a back and forth game, depending on what they do with the backup. But I think Arizona get the first W. Let's go, Kyler.
Really quick before we pass it over to Ty, I just want to state probably the weirdest, most random stat out there. Among wide receivers through 2 weeks, Larry Fitzgerald ranks 7th in yards, 213, and 9th in receptions, 13, despite leading the NFL with 9 uncatchable targets thrown his way.
Wow, that's amazing.
Larry Fitzgerald could still be playable in fantasy.
Well, I'm taking him in I'm taking him in DraftKings because his price is low and it's a PPR league. I mean, come on.
He is a marvel. He is a marvel to watch. I'll start with that. Like, for the longest time, he has been incredible to watch. I hate to agree with both of you on this one, but I hate the way the Panthers are playing right now. It is honestly like bothering me. Again, like, I get Cam's not playing, but watching him play I'm almost wondering who he is, like who took over for Cam. I mean, I know why, the whole shoulder, the foot. I mean, he's got all sorts of things going on, but the rest of the team's not playing super well either. I think we all were ready for the Panthers to beat the Bucs, look good against the Bucs last week. Big division game where you got to step up, and the Bucs pulled it out. Not that they did super well either, but I mean, if that doesn't tell you in a scrappy game that the Panthers are going to lose to them, I don't think there's a whole lot of confidence that brings them in to Arizona this week. And I don't think Arizona has anything bad to look at. I mean, they tied the first week. I get it, But last week, I mean, they played the Ravens. Yeah. So you only lost by 6 to the Ravens, who we all are kind of looking at and kind of with our head sideways and going, I mean, hey, like, look at these guys. So I think this is one for the Cardinals, like you both have said, just to give them some confidence. Kyler's first W and Kingsbury's first W as well to look pretty good. So
clean sweep.
I like it. So getting in, actually, so that was the first slate of the afternoon games was the Panthers Cardinals. So next up we have Daniel Jones heading down to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't think that Jameis Winston's going to let them get any crab legs while they're down there. I always got to go for it, bro. I love it. I love it too much.
You might catch an Uber, though.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh.
You can go first, Ty. I'm not doing. I can't go after that.
That's cool.
I had full confidence to go in, and then Rod just like, whoop.
This is a rough game. Again, I like that the Bucs got the W last week. I know I just said scrappy game. You don't really expect them to get it. They figured out how to pull it out. Not sure how I even want to think of the Giants offense with Daniel Jones preseason wise. I mean, A1. They look great. Like, if that's the Daniel Jones that's going to come out, this should be an easy game for the Giants. But I think it's always hard for a rookie to come in and get their first W, no matter who they play, what the situation is. There are nerves there.
Wow.
Receiving core is still not necessarily all back, whether that's suspension, injury, whatever the situation. Daniel Jones is not rocking with a number one receiving core. So I'm going to go with the Bucs in this one. I think their defense can get it done. Not that I'm super high on it, but there's some young guys there that, can make some moves. And I think against a rookie quarterback, they can get him to make a couple mistakes, and turnovers are going to be the reason I think the Bucs take the W.
Is Jameis Winston startable? Like, in this scenario, this week.
I know. I understand what you're saying. I hate to say yes to Jameis Winston, like, anytime. Like, I mean, I'm way high on, like, Josh Allen over him in this situation. I'd take Joe Flacco probably over him. But if you got to take him, you got to take him. I mean, again, the Giants aren't a defense to look at and be scared of, but I don't really ever like to say yes to that. I don't trust the kid.
Yeah, I've got him on my bench in a couple leagues. This is going to be a show me, a prove me for Jameis. Giants do give up 441 yards a game, though. This is a sweet spot if you're going to start them. Team-wise on the offense, I mean, Giants also, they're putting up 420 yards a game, but they're only scoring 15, so they're not that efficient. The Bucs are almost at 19 points a game, despite having less than 300 total yards a game, so they're a bit more efficient. Now, I was saying something, I didn't think it would be week 3, but remember I was saying in the preseason, I think it was our first time on week 1, the Giants have set Daniel Jones up to be successful in preseason. Their offensive line played the most snaps of anyone because it was mostly when Daniel was in there. They set him up and roll out single read plays, knowing that when they make this move this time, because remember they did it a couple years ago and everyone almost lost their mind. This time they wanted the fans to be clamoring for it. For Daniel Jones to take over Eli. So I think they set him up for success, which is fine. You want to put your picks in, especially when you move up in, in a position to exceed. One reason I discovered, this is my theory, why they pulled the plug so quick on Eli. You want your players to get in the Hall of Fame, right? Lifetime Giant, blah, 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 blah. His career record and quarterback more than any other position, we put emphasis on win-loss. Not running back, not cornerback, not receiver. No one knows what Jerry Rice's win-loss is, but we do it for quarterbacks. Eli is 116 and 116. They're underdogs by 6 points. And if he loses this game, you can say he's a career under 500 quarterback. And I think the Giants were cognizant of this. And not only did they set Daniel Jones up for success, I said, you know what? We ain't going to do our boy like this. We're going to, you'll never have that narrative on him that he was under 500. So they put him in. Can't be any worse. You can do other plays. Let's face it. You can never roll Eli out. When he saw the pass rush coming, it was like Drew Bledsoe during the end of his career. He just went down. He didn't try and avoid it. So you're going to have a more versatile playbook here. The Giants are already putting up 400-something yards. I am concerned though with the injuries at the wide receiver. I'm concerned still with their offensive line, which he's more mobile. I'm not saying he's mobile, but he's more mobile than Eli. But having said that, Jameis took care of the ball last week. I'm not wild about Jameis, but this Giants defense is still bad. Eli didn't play defense. And so this defense is still going to be giving up 400-something yards. I think it's a sweet spot. And we also might see a changing of the guard. If you watch these games, for some reason, I've seen a lot of Tampa Bay this year. Chris Goodwin seems to be his number one and not Mike Evans. So for those drafting Evans, I'm worried about – I never worried about if a guy has a bad game or two. I'm worried about if the other guy is favored more than him. It seems to be the quarterback's favorite target. If they have some rapport that doesn't exist with my guy. And I don't have Mike Evans, but I would be concerned with that. So watch this again. But Chris Goodwin has more targets, more catches, and just seems to be Jameis's guy to go to. But having said all that, I just think the Giants' defense is too bad. I do think Daniel Jones, will put some spark into the Giants' offense, but not enough here. So I got to take the Bucs.
I am gonna be taking the Bucs, but I also want to point out, this is another one of those things, how you mentioned about Godwin, where once again, everybody that watches us, everybody's gonna go back and rewatch and everything like that. This is why, 1,600 of you instead growingly are becoming fans of the Rumboyz. This is one of those things where we're historically accurate on. Go back last year to our very first, set when we started this. Didn't I say that Godwin was going to become a number one guy?
I mean, preaching him for forever, through the offseason.
I've been telling people, especially people that were in dynasty leagues, last year, get you a share of him. This is going to be a game where Godwin is going to go off. Peyton Barber, again, make sure that you do not start the wrong buck. I know someone that literally started Ronald Jones last week, all ended up with 9 points.
Oh,
please, and they had to deal with me on the other side with Barber going off and flex. Please make sure that you're starting the right running back in this game. Winston is startable in this game. If you have Mike Evans, obviously you're starting Mike Evans. For those of you that are trying to be on the Daniel Jones hype train, I want you guys to watch this game clear-eyed view, okay? I don't care if you're a Giants fan. I want you to watch this game. Don't even pick up a beer while you watch this game. Watch this game clear-minded, okay? Pay attention to what he's doing, because last time that we saw him, everyone got overly excited too quick off of a small sample size. Okay. This is now the real deal. This is the real time. If he does bad his first showing, keep in mind that he's a rookie. Don't go and bash the kid and boo him and everything like that.
It's New York.
I get that, but I want to make sure that I put this out there into the universe because I know that it's going to happen, and it's honestly it's just gonna be terrible. So I just want to make sure I state that there is a chance that this kid is probably not going to be what you saw in the preseason. So don't have your hopes up too high. And remember, Robbie told you so first.
Fair enough.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Thanks. Saints Seahawks. That's right.
In Seattle.
Yeah.
Always mention that.
Yes, in Seattle. BKB would like, no, make sure you say Seattle. I am rolling with the Saints.
Ooh, desperation game for the Saints.
Yes, this is a game that they have to win. And they have to show that they can win even without Breeze being there. And what other better team to do it than against the Seattle Seahawks? I like that that Sean Payton has stated that. Well, what do you mean? Teddy Bridgewater is going to be the starter. I like that he's coming in with the 2 QB mindset. We've never seen anything like that really in the NFL. The closest that we have seen it was whenever Taysom Hill would come in for those trick plays. If there's anyone that can pull off this type of scheme, a quarterback by committee, it's Sean Payton. You have no film. You don't know how it's going to look. You don't know how it's going to work. We've seen so many times where defenses and defensive coordinators haven't had film on something and they can't game plan for it. But I think that Sean Payton is strategic enough to coach his way out of this one with the W by 1 point.
Oh, close one. Well, I'll tell you what, I said it's in Seattle. That in Seattle mindset I'm also guilty of. So week 1 against Cincinnati, it was in Seattle. I took the point spread in Seattle, and they barely won the damn game. So no Legion of Boom anymore. One thing, you say you don't have film. I do have film on Teddy Bridgewater. And he started last year. It was the final game, but, Michael Thomas played. He didn't throw for 200 yards. This game, essentially a start. I know it wasn't a start. Again, not for over 200 yards. He's got the reputation of as being the best backup. I know he's a nice guy. I know he's teammates love him. And I think that's great. He's a leader and all that. I don't believe in Teddy Bridgewater. And I don't believe you can win on running in a while.
Oh, it's chopping up. Your internet's chopping up.
Yeah, out there. That's all right. That's all right. All right. Bridgewater had to say he's going to be this. I need to see it. I haven't seen. I think there's a change. We should draft it to see how he's. See, we can watch this. If it's closer, he had 62 last game. Penny did. See if it's once you start to get in doghouse. But still, Russell Wilson just amazing. I was talking to Keyshawn about it the other day. Just one quarterback, Aaron.
Oh no!
Rodgers, you hate to see how the ball get into your team. When he has time to run, he can still throw off the run. He gets out of bounds or ducks, doesn't take hard hits. He's just amazing. I don't believe in Bridgewater. I believe in Russell Wilson. I don't think Russell Wilson lets Bridgewater back up, beat him at home. So I'm going with the Seahawks.
That's like almost exactly where I was going with it. The fact that, again, Bridgewater is probably the best backup in the league. I mean, any team looking for a backup or that, would want a backup is probably looking for somebody like Teddy Bridgewater, who knows his role, who enjoys his role, who is a good teammate, blah, blah, blah. I mean, Rod hit right on the head. But, again, Seattle is – I know there's no film necessarily, but I think Seattle has improved their defense, be that just going to get Clowney, but you have got somebody to go after Bridgewater. And again, I don't trust Bridgewater's arm. Like his legs shirt. The dude can get out of it. I mean, he can run 15, 20 yards. He can make a move, whatever he's got to do. But I think Seattle is just going to put it back together. I know the Saints defense hasn't been terrible, but I'm totally with you. Russell Wilson figures out how to get it done, and I think he has kind of the same mindset as Brady, where like I'm not losing to somebody who is a rookie or who is a career backup, exactly like you said. So I'm going with Seattle. Maybe not in a super comfortable win, but I don't think they're sweating in the last 2 minutes of the game.
Bro, I think I really got BKB butthurt. Like he is pissed in the chat because I did not pick the Seahawks.
He wanted to remind you he was in Seattle now. Don't do it wrong.
Yeah, he was like, Raj, get your boy Ty, tell the truth. Got that man in his feelings. Texans, Chargers. I'm going Houston. Chargers barely got away with one last week, so I'm taking Houston just because they're in games.
Last week. Chargers lost the Lions.
Huh? Yeah. Oh, did they? Yeah. The Chargers lost the Lions. That's right. We just covered like minutes.
They barely got away week 1 against the Colts.
Yeah. It was the Colts that they barely got away with. And then like they weren't that great against Lions, honest. They weren't great against the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm picking the Texans. They actually hang in the games. Deshaun Watson. I want them to use Duke Johnson a lot more. I want to see Deshaun Watson get the ball to Duke on a lot of those outlets, those screen passes, situations like that. You can't stop this receiving core. This team would be so much more dangerous if Will Fuller didn't have the same 2 routes. Like if Will Fuller could run the whole tree,
yeah.
If Will Fuller could run all 9 routes, man, it would be dangerous. But with that being said, I feel like they do have the better receivers. Will Fuller, the deep threat. DeAndre Hopkins is going to catch whatever is in his vicinity. Kiki QT, like there's just so much to worry about on the Texans. Yeah, Kenny Stills now.
He's making a name already.
Yeah, Kenny Stills runs the same route as well. Just give me a streak. So yeah. Now I'm going to Texans. Raj.
All right. Speaking of those receivers, you say like Fuller, if he could run a route, Keyshawn hates it. The NFL, he says, is littered with receivers that cannot run routes, but because you can't touch anyone, they can just run a straight line and it's effective. He hates it. Yeah. He thinks it's just so whack. Gosh, who are we talking about? It's like, no, that boy good. He's like, he couldn't run left if his life depended on him. You know, he's like, it'll come to me later. But if it's someone that's making plays in the highlights. But anyway, it's littered with this. Listen, I agree with you with the weapons that Deshaun has. And Deshaun is a weapon himself. Completely agree with you. One weakness, and they continue to have this weakness, is their offensive line. He's getting sacked like 4 times a game. Now, 4 times a game is a sack. Doesn't mean how many times you're getting hit. It's too much. Tunzel, I know they traded for, but his ankle ain't right, so he ain't ready. I think the defensive line of the Chargers will actually win this game. Phillip's going to do what Phillip do. Phillip going to Phillip. He'll put up some numbers. They'll go up and down the field. May or may not get touchdown. They're going to do their thing. But I think the Chargers will win this game with their defensive line. I like Deshaun, but dude, y'all got to leave someone in the chip or do something because he just takes too many hits, and it's just a recipe for getting your quarterback hurt for one. But this game at home, Phillip has weapons too, and even if they're not weapons, he makes them weapons. One of your guys, Mike D, says Watson won't make it out of week 5. I hope he does. But anyway, this game, I think too much. I think the defensive line, Chargers win. Within a field goal, but I like the Chargers take this game.
Yeah.
I like that. I like it. This is kind of a hard one for me because I actually really like both of these teams, and I really think, honestly, if they can fix a couple of those little things we both have kind of been talking about, I think these teams could be playoff teams. Again, I mean, either offensive line-wise, Chargers maybe injury-wise, figuring out that backfield. But I like the Chargers in this one. I think this is a game where Rivers goes down last week, and Phillip Rivers is one of those guys I can just tell he hates to lose, especially to a team maybe that A lot of people aren't looking at the Lions and being like, that's the team to beat this year. They had a really bad week. The only thing that scares me really with the Chargers that isn't my first-year pick is Derwin James being out, that the defensive backs, being limited, especially against DeAndre Hopkins and some of the guys Robbie just named.
Chocolate sauce.
I mean, I'm rooting for Chocolate Sauce to score at least 2 touchdowns in this game.
Why did you make that man's nickname? Why did you make another grown man's nickname Chocolate Sauce?
I don't know. It's just kind of happened. So fast on this show. But I think the Chargers, I agree. Bosa and the rest of those guys can get after Watson. I know he can throw on the run, which is not a problem.
Mhm.
But if he doesn't even get the opportunity to roll out, there's no throwing on the run.
No.
Yeah.
So Texans defense hasn't really showed up. Kind of the same thing as the Broncos. Where has AJ Watt been? Where has Von Miller been? I've been waiting to hear these guys, and I haven't.
They're on a lot of commercials. Just watch the commercial breaks. You'll see both of them.
I was gonna say, they clearly got more things going on off the field than they do, trying to sack quarterbacks. So I think this is also going to be a very close game. Probably 7 at the most is my spread. It maybe even a field goal. I agree that it's going to be a very close game, but I think the Chargers can squeak it out just by a Texans defense that I'm not really sure they know their identity yet.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Vegas has it at 3.5. If you were wondering, 3.5. So.
Okay.
The Chargers up, but yeah.
Cool.
And then our final of the afternoon games before we get into our primetime games. Steelers 49ers. Fellas, what are we thinking here?
I think the 49ers looked fantastic last week. I mean, I get it's, again, you got to look at who they play. So, you don't expect a lot out of, I believe it was the Bengals. You don't expect a lot out of those guys. I mean, you put up 40 points against them. You aren't looked at as like a super team yet. But I think it showed a lot that they can get it together. Jimmy G can go through some reads and he can find receivers.
Yeah.
I still don't know how I feel about the Steelers this year. I loved them coming into the season, thought they'd be okay. Without Ben, I think this is a Niners game.
Okay.
I don't hate Mason Rudolph by any means, but Juju hasn't really turned it on yet. Maybe he does, being like that, honestly, kind of security blanket. If I'm Rudolph, I mean, I'm looking for Juju. If he's got a one-on-one, I'll probably take that chance. It is what it is. So I'm going with the Niners, though.
Yeah, this is a 6.5 spread, by the way. For Mike D was asking in the chat. Well, Raj, it's your turn, man.
Yeah, it's one of those 30 for 30s. What if I told you that coming into this game, the Steelers would have no victories and the 49ers would be undefeated? I mean, come on. And I hate to be a broken record, but I was saying Juju last year when I saw in the game they needed without Antonio Brown, he had like 47 yards. Last week he had 5 catches for 84. It's better, but we still haven't seen the explosive Juju. So it's, like I say, it's different being that number one. That number one receiver can be challenging. But, hey, how about Jimmy G and the Niners? They're putting up over 400 yards of offense. Their defense is giving up over 300 barely. Thanks to playing Jameis Winston, they have a +2 turnover ratio. But I think the Niners have confidence. With Jimmy G, I think they even have dare I say, a little swagger. Their running backs, they just keep running out the committees there, with Beretta and Mostert. How do you say his name? Mostert?
Mostert, yeah.
Yeah. Of course, you still got Kittle waiting for him to go off. I think the Niners win this game comfortably, guys.
Yeah.
Steelers, I'm baffled. Do you guys understand why the Steelers would trade a first-round pick when your quarterback is already out for the year? Why you would give up a first-round pick for a guy you're going to play at safety? Does anyone understand?
I was lost.
That was mind-blowing. That was mind-blowing that they did that.
Like, if they won after Ramsey, I would have been like, okay, like, that's a future-type winning situation right there. But, like,
Minkah Fitzpatrick.
I don't
get me wrong. Minkah Fitzpatrick's an amazing safety. But he can't play. He can only line up in zone. He's a one-dimensional safety.
And if you lost your quarterback, you potentially gave up a top 10 pick. I don't know if I don't know who gets to pull the strings. I don't know if that's a Tomlin thing, like, hey, I'm saving my job, or Tom is a player's guy. We're still together. I say the adversity that we're going to go out and show we're not giving up on the season. I get all that, but you got to think big picture, and not just baffle me to do that. But Niners win this game on the way.
Cap. Steelers call up Cap. I don't know.
Again, that in a division that right now the Ravens are thriving.
Yeah.
The Browns, I don't think we've seen the best of the Browns yet, and I think the Steelers know we haven't seen it. Unless you're gonna beat out the Bengals, you probably are gonna be the third team in that division.
Yeah.
Like you said, this could be a great pick.
Yeah.
For the Dolphins.
I am going to go ahead and I'm picking the 49ers in this game, surprisingly. Wow, big shock. I know. I'm surprised at myself as well. I am taking the 49ers. I'm done joking on Jimmy G.
No way. Anybody in the chat, somebody cut that. I want a copy of that.
If he goes back to throwing interceptions, then trust me, all the curse jokes are back. But right now they're invalid. He's putting work. I really like Raheem Mostert. I've been telling you guys for the last 2 days to go get him on the waiver wire. And if you haven't been listening to me, well, then that's y'all's fault.
But I got him. Yeah, I think he's got. If you watch, I think he's the most explosive back on that team.
Oh yes, hands down. And once again, people for some reason they don't want to give him that attention, but no, he definitely is the most explosive back. Juju can't handle double coverages for all the same reasons that we've broken down why the Steelers continue to decline. I like Mason Rudolph. I get that him and Washington had chemistry back at Oklahoma State, but that was years ago. Raj, I'm sure that you've ran into a friend that is like, hey, like we knew each other in high school, and it's like they are not the same person that you knew in high school, like college or whatever the case.
Sure.
Everybody's got one of them.
Yeah. 49ers are going to go 3-0. It is what it is. None of us expected it, but it is what it is. Sunday Night Football.
Interesting.
Rams. Browns.
Ooh.
Ty Boogie, what you got?
I'm interested in this one. Again, I honestly think the Browns are still going to break out of their shell. I think Baker will get it together. I think maybe they just, even as much swagger as I think this team has and the guys on this team, I don't think they were ready for the target on their back, honestly, is the way I like to put it, because there's no way you're not any other team in the NFL being like, I'm circling the Browns game. I'm ready to play the Browns. Like that, it is what it is. But the Rams are still a great team. I get we're kind of looking at Gurley and wondering, what's going on, and maybe you're not as explosive as you guys have been the last, 2 years or so. But I think this is a game where the Browns also have it circled and know that the Rams are a top team in the NFL, and this is a time that they're going to have to put it on. I know whatever they played the Jets, that's kind of a gimme win. Maybe that's not a confidence booster, but I think playing the Jets, they already could have started game planning for this a little bit, maybe earlier than what you thought. So I think the Browns can get it done at home, and I think it's a very close game, though. I think the Rams are still going to put up points, but I still am going to believe in this Browns defense. At least that front four is still good, in my opinion.
Which one are you picking?
I'm going with the Browns. I'd like both teams.
I was like listening to your take. I'm like, you keep flipping
because I am. I'm like looking at both teams.
No, he was leaning that way. He was leaning the Browns. He was dating. He just didn't want to commit, but he made him commit.
It's hard still for me to commit to the Browns with 5 wins in the last however many years.
It's strange to say that. You focused on the offense with the Browns. I was saying today on our show on ESPN Los Angeles, my focus with the Browns is their defense. That's the threat to the Rams to me. Their defense is playing pretty well. And, of course, Myles Garrett's going to go against 41-year-old Andrew Whitworth, who is still skilled and does his thing, but the left tackle of the Rams, Whitworth. I think the Rams need to worry about the defense of the Browns. On the offensive side, I love the headband. Like, I'm all about the headband, but watching, I've seen 2 games this year. When a play progresses, he ignores that first read. So instead of taking that gimme 6-yard pass and hopefully, he'll run it up for a little bit more, he holds that ball and is waiting for the bigger play, takes too many hits. I don't like what the headband's doing right now with the offense, just taking what the defense is giving you or his progression, like reading plays. The Rams, I don't care what anyone says, Todd Gurley ain't Todd Gurley. You didn't pay him all that money to use them sparingly like that. And maybe you're saving them, but I think you're more worried about the knee, which made a lot of noise this week. Cooper Kupp's been great coming back from injury. The security blanket galore. You still got Cooks. You still got Woods. There's so many weapons on the Rams. I'm just concerned with the headband and when the Browns have the ball. I mean, Aaron Donald only has one tackle, but if you know football, you don't look at his stats like that. He doesn't have a sack. He is collapsing pockets. Just you have to put so much attention to Aaron Donald. I don't think the Browns can keep up offensively. I mean, listen, even though I said their defense is a strength, they're going to have to score points, and the Rams are still healthy on defense. I think their defense is going to be enough. It's a 3-point game, so Vegas does recognize, that, hey, it's going to be a close game. I think Cleveland's defense keeps them in, but I don't think the offense can do enough to keep up with them. I got to see more from the headband in terms of being a mature quarterback. And what it boils down to is a difference of 5 in the turnover ratio. Rams +2, Browns -3, and it's mostly because of Baker. So I'm going to take the Rams in this game until I see more from the headband and more cohesiveness on the offense.
I think the Browns get smoked in this game. I know that defense spread. I am aware. If there's any defense and any defensive front that's going to make you as a quarterback really sit there, you've already shown, even against a depleted Jets defense last week, that you're looking like a deer in the headlights. You're not going through your reads as smoothly as you should. You're kind of just like, oh, there's Odell. Like, did we forget that you have one of the league's leading reception leaders in Jarvis Landry?
Who was open on every single 5 or 6 yard play, but he's looking for the big play.
For the big play, exactly.
Just back, that's Jarvis' spot. Like, give me 6, give me 7. Like,
Take that. Take it.
12.
That's what made that duo successful at LSU. If I'm Baker Mayfield, I'm probably going back and I'm looking at that old LSU film and I'm trying to really get to know those two.
Okay.
From on the field standpoint, because I feel like he doesn't know how to operate with those two. He's just looking for big playability. Nick Chubb, I feel like Nick Chubb should be touching the ball at all times when it comes to a running play. There should not be anyone else in for Nick Chubb whatsoever. You have a bell cow, utilize your bell cow. You don't have a tight end now. David Njoku got concussed and is out, possibly dealing with an extra injury, I believe, to the wrist.
Yeah, broken wrist.
Yeah, in conjunction with that. I can't take the Browns in this one. It's going to be LA Rams all day.
Ooh, okay. Well, I like that. Gutsy call, but I could see, but Rob, your argument, Ty, your argument, you could see both happening. I mean, you could see a close game, but then I could see how it unravels, like you say, for the reasons that we all said, just the reads and the not taking the short shots there, and the Rams just taking advantage and feasting on that and blowing them away. So we'll see.
Sunday night.
Yeah.
Sunday night.
Now, final game. We're going to break down for you guys.
Here we go.
How did this wind up on Monday night? Hey, go stop the production. How the hell they put this game on Monday night?
I agree. I totally agree.
See,
I totally agree.
The NFL knew that we were doing our show, and they're like, they need really good views.
No,
let's make them.
I saw the schedule and I started shaking my computer like, hang on, something must be wrong. This can't be Monday night. I was scrolling down like, no, surely there's another game. But go ahead. No disrespect.
No worries. Hey,
I'm totally with it though. That's a funny comment.
This is gonna be a stream that you guys are not gonna want to miss. You guys know it as Monday night. It's Rum Day Night Football.
Woo!
Here on the Fantasy Network. Bears, Skins. They gotta come to FedEx Field.
All I want to know, I just want to know the side bet before we get in our prognostication of it. The two of you, Rob, Ty, what is the side bet between you two? If you haven't figured it out, I need to know. In fact, you guys should put up a poll on Twitter. Make sure you tag me on it. Give me 4 choices of what your side bet should be. Let the people choose.
I like that.
We'll do it.
You got to help us out. You got to get that thing tweeted out. We want as many people as we can to vote on it.
We can't do the dirty talk We did the jersey swap last
No,
year.
the jersey swap is too light. That's
that's
too
too
light.
easy.
That's
Yeah.
mild sauce.
No, swap underwear or something.
What the fuck?
We gotta be like, so I lost. Check this out.
Weird tiny ass underwear. Y'all know he's short.
I brought whitey tighties for Rob.
Oh my gosh. Fuck.
Yeah,
I'm picking the Redskins.
Well, yeah, there's no like.
But let me explain why. Like, let me actually develop my educated, take.
Okay.
Terry McLaurin has scored in both of his last games. Terry McLaurin has faced different styles of coverage against top corners in those games. He is going to burn Eddie Jackson and Adrian Amos. Or actually, I'm sorry, you don't have no more. He's not there no more. I'm sorry. My bad. So you have no safety help.
Okay. Well, you can burn Prince Mukamara. Eddie Jackson.
Yeah, that's easy. On top of that, we're just gonna check the ball down to Trey Quinn the whole time. AP's gonna run all over y'all. Y'all are not doing well. You cannot put up points on offense, and guess who the hell can though? We can. If you can't make it over an average of 21 points per game, Tyler, how the hell do you expect your Bears to defeat my Redskins?
That was the take.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead.
Well, speaking of points per game, the Bears are doing a 9.5 points per game, in case you wanted to know. So you're not even double digits in points per game, Ty. Just hate to bring it up, but it's not looking. But the defense is stellar, 292 yards a game. I do like that. And the Redskins have won the past 7 games against the Bears. Did you guys know that? I hate to bring up history, but of course, in this game, history doesn't matter.
We didn't play the last 2 years with the defense.
It's just the last 7, bro. It don't matter.
7 is that's a lot. That's a lot. Monday night, listen, it's going to be a close game, but Monday night, win at home. Redskins are desperate. If you're going to win, you're at home, you're an underdog. I believe it's 3.5. The Bears are favored by. I just think at home, the Redskins, your season on the line. I hate to say it this early, but come on, the season's on the line. It's a winnable game. You're at home, prime time. I tend to like teams getting hyped. You're going to be with FedEx Field, you guys call it now, whatever your little cute name is for it.
Jack Kent Cook. I used to live 2 blocks away from it. Summerfield Apartments. Y'all can Google it. It's Jack Kent Cook originally.
All right. Well, I will take the Redskins on this game, but I'm not going to waste your precious time on this. We got to hear from Robbie, who we heard from, and now we got to hear Ty defend his Bears.
I mean, I'm obviously taking the Bears. There's no question in this. If the Bears at this point, the Bears don't have Matt Nagy's not looking at any game as a trap game. Like at this point, they're in red alert, in my opinion. Like they already barely squeak away beating the Broncos, which I'm never going to not hear about for the rest of my life because it was my team, not one of your teams that had that happen to them. So I'm going to hear about it all year. But I think Nagy already has them in red alert. I bet you he is cracking the whip to say, like at practice, whatever he's got to do and getting these guys going. Again, I've said multiple times, the Bears defense has not been doing bad. Yes, it's hard for them to look like a top 10 defense when you're on the field for 70% of the game and your offense is doing 3 to 5 plays and then punting. There's no easy way for someone even like Khalil Mack to stay fresh, stay healthy, and stay ready to hit somebody. So, I mean, I think this is the game that finally maybe we can put some offense together against a defense that, they're putting pieces together. I've already said your defense is putting some pieces together, and I think it's going to work out in the next couple of years, but it's still not a proven defense yet. So I think this is finally the time at least to hold the ball. Maybe we'll get a defensive touchdown. I've been waiting for that to happen. That's coming for the Bears defense this year. And maybe it's about that time. So
we'll have to see.
Double digit. That means you're going to score 10 points?
Hey, as long as our defense keeps them to 7, I'm cool with it. All y'all have is a kicker this year. Stop it, Ty. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you guys for joining us. It has definitely been amazing. Raj is literally like he's a part of the family now. You guys have seen him so many times, and we greatly appreciate it. We're gonna have to get you a Rumboyz shirt for real. I'm gonna have to expedite that for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keyshawn too.
Oh, that's right. Extra large for him. He's gaining weight.
I already said to half the players, I was like, you could just cut the sleeves off. We don't mind. Just
Yeah.
keep, the logo at schools.
We greatly appreciate you guys for joining us. Make sure you guys check us out next week. We will be streaming tonight for Thursday Night Football, the Jags versus Titans. Make sure you guys tune in Sunday for NFL Rum Zone. And then, of course, Monday Night Football on Mondays. Raj, what do you guys got going on out there in LA?
Of course, today you can check out Casey Jr., our football scientist with some fantasy picks. We've got our own picks against the spread up that the guys did. Tomorrow, we're going to pull back the pigskin, go all around the NFL. And, of course, we're going to preview just some of the biggest games of the week. So it's just fun. We're going to do our thing. And, football or basketball isn't too far around the corner. We're not quite there. There was a damn hockey game last night the Kings played.
Yeah.
Did you know that? Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Who knew? I was like, whoa, what's going on already? But anyway.
I got an update.
Yes, but we're all footballed out, man. We got to put up fantasy stuff. All the picks coming up. Like I said, I like to focus on the spread a lot, but it's fun just to do some good old pick'ems as well. So we're footballed out tomorrow.
Yeah, I like it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, y'all know how we close this out. Cheers to me.
Cheers to you.
All the Rumboyz and girls, what it do. Dilly dilly, we appreciate y'all. Peace. There we go.